Here are your hosts, Derick G and AJ.
What's going on, folks? Welcome back to another episode of the Bloody Water Podcast. Today, a little unconventional, and I wanted to pay tribute before we got started. Rest in peace to the man, the myth, the legend, the bone crusher, Rumble Johnson, Anthony Rumble Johnson. This is a man right here who, 38 years old, athletic specimen, has gone from fighting from heavyweight to welterweight and everywhere in between. Came close to winning some championships, fought for many championships. Breaking it down with me, as always, my co-host, the Santa Fe Bomber, the New Mexico native, AJ brother, Anthony Johnson. Talk about a man who nobody has wanted someone to win a championship more for this man than probably myself. I'm sure you probably included in the boat. But at the end of the day, we grew up watching this dude. This was at one point the scariest man you could probably think of. I mean, listen, they go too soon, man. RIP to a legend. Give me some thoughts. What are one of your favorite moments, of an Anthony Rumble Johnson before we move on?
Man, there's been many moments, Derrick, and like you said, rest in peace to one of the legends, one of the greatest to do it. That a lot of people, I feel like, have fell a little short in his career. I mean, you run into DC, you run into a lot of these killers. Yeah. You just go, you want to go look at a hit list of absolute killers, man. Rumble Johnson has been doing it since they started, since the start of the actual getting it going. Man, one of my favorite, I think, to add to what you were saying, Derrick, first off, about how somebody who you wanted to see fight or win a championship, also somebody who I personally wanted to see fight one of the other greatest to ever do it in John Jones, and not being able to see that always felt a little lacking to me. And anytime Rumble would step up to the plate, man, you were always very excited to watch a Rumble Johnson fight. So it's sad to see one of the like you said, an OG, man, one of the childhood heroes you see gone a little too soon from this world, man. It's sad to see. I was weird, but when the cameras were off, I was trying to look at his record to see what is one of my favorite moments. And man, there's so many, you can't really tell it, but I think if you ever want to see a good tribute, and from a man who admittedly himself didn't really know Rumble to a personal level, go check out Uncle Chael's tribute about him having to make weight. It's a great story. I think just Rumble as a character, as a person, as a human being, and as a fighter is kind of my favorite thing about him. I don't know if I could pin it down to one moment, Derrick. What about you, man?
One of my favorite moments, of course, especially it's aged so well, but the KO over Glover Teixeira, it took all of 20 seconds, man. Uppercutted that man into oblivion. He went on to become a champion. Now he's got the tutelage of the Alex Paedas underneath him and all that. Shout out to a legend. Here's my whole entire point. Here's my whole entire spiel on why we need to pay homage to the legend. These dudes, they put it all on the line for our entertainment, and to be gone at 38 years old truly is a shame. That is far too young. You never know when people are going to go. So appreciate people in the moment, give them their roses proverbially, you know what I mean, when they can still smell them. So that's it for that. We're paying tribute to my man, but you already know what time it is, folks. It's another episode of the Bloody Water Podcast. Energy is back up. There is a scoreboard down below where you could check out the current standings. 132-78 for me, 130-80 for my man AJ. Folks, 3 fight cards left, not including the one that we're going to be talking about today. That will determine the winner of the 2022 Undisputed Bloody Water Podcast Tournament, the championship, head-to-head. Let's go. And I got to at least bring it up. This is the thing that we are fighting for. It's beautiful. It's golden. 2022 Undisputed Champion. Both of us want it behind us. Only one of us is going to get it. So that's why this episode right now is more important than ever. And you need to stick around until the end so you can see not only the picks, why we're picking them, and the thought process behind it, the whole entire 9. AJ, any words before we jump into it?
Man, you said it best, Derrick. You need to tune in. You need to stay in, folks. This is the home stretch. This is literally the last basically month of fight cards. Man, this card plus 3 more. We got 4 weekends of fun to be going for this, for our own ego, for our own championship belt that we have along the line, man. And you can see Derrick already has one in the back behind him. I'm excited to go ahead and snag mine up. I got to pay a little spot waiting, but I ain't count my chickens before they hatch, man. You can see the scorecard down below. It has been an up and down battle literally the entire year. It's really, really close going into it, man. I'm excited to do it. And this week, there's a lot of fights that are very, very back and forth, man. Derrick sent me a message on the Discord talking that, I won't leave too many spoilers, but that these are very close fights. And I did the exact same thing. I was like, man, I'm surprised that we're kind of, we're I'll leave it to y'all. But I'm excited to talk about these fights.
Don't
because
spoil
they're
it
gonna
too
be
much,
very,
bro.
very close.
Don't spoil it too much for the people. They got to stick around for a little something. But just know this, folks. You see that spot right behind AJ. He got the picture up. The purple is shining right there. I could see a nice shiny belt just hanging out right over there. I don't know if that's your spot, AJ, but I'm just saying. I see some real estate there. Now, folks, for my PSTers, for my Pacific timers, early start time. It's really for everybody. 10 a.m. for us here on the West Coast. If you're in East Coast, 1 o'clock, right? That's not too bad. AJ, you in Texas, I think that's what, Central Time? I don't know where y'all are at or what your time zone is. What time zone are you in, bro?
Ooh, Central. We're an hour behind New York. No, we're an hour ahead of. I don't even honestly, dog.
All right, early start time, folks. That's the point right there. Tune in, check your clocks, all that good stuff, man. Fights for breakfast. You gotta love it. Without any further ado, folks, if you have not subscribed yet, subscribe right now. Now is the time to do it. You absolutely must. If you actually look at the live count right now, 440 subscribers, brother. Let's fucking go. We had said let's get 435, 440, 445, 450, 500 by the end of the month. It's looking a little late in the game. It's November, 16th? We still got a little bit of time. Second half is upon us. Let's get it. Without any further ado, let's talk about some main card picks, brother. Let's get into it.
Here's to another main card breakdown, courtesy of your hosts, Derick G and AJ.
AJ, this is back against the wall time for the Black Beast for Derrick Lewis. You go into your last fight, if you were Derrick Lewis, you fight a Sergey Pavlovich, and I mean, early stoppage, I don't know, but you got pieced up. You put it on yourself. You went into the fight as a slow starter, and Pavlovich capitalized, man. A win is a win is a win. We preach it all the time here on this show, and Pavlovich got it done. Now you fight another Sergey. A Sergey who is a little bit of a slow starter. A Sergey who has to close the distance if he wants to execute his game plan. Now, I'm not saying that this isn't something that can happen. Clearly, the man is a minus 190 favorite in and of itself. But let's be honest here, AJ. A slump is a slump. 2022 has not been Derrick Lewis's year. He's admitted it. Is he a number 7 fighter in the heavyweight division? Truly? Brother, it was just a couple months ago we said there is Francis Ngannou, Stipe Miocic, Cyril Gane, and Derrick Lewis, though it's the pinnacle of the heavyweight division. What happened?
Derrick, I guess when it rains, it pours, brother. That seems to be the case for Derrick Lewis, and a lot of people have lost faith in the Black Beast. It's kind of crazy, man. I mean, like you said, just months ago, we were talking about this dude. I remember at the beginning of the year, even me, myself, I thought Derrick Lewis was going to be champ. He's fought for a couple titles, and because of the skid that he's kind of been, and the skid of this year, that is, like you said, his fighting year, it's looking a little rough for him, at least optically. If he can come back, though, I think with this, a big win right here against Spivac, I think that will kind of propel him back. But at this point, Derrick, I don't know, man. Do you think this one fight will be the one that does it? Or do you think this is another one where, he used to be a championship material. He should be beating Spivac. Does this even do anything for him? Or do you think this is a big fight right here for the career of Derrick Lewis?
If you're a real MMA fan, you totally understand Sergey Spivak is absolutely a dark horse in the heavyweight division. He doesn't like to talk shit. He's not entertaining in terms of being outspoken, doesn't speak English, doesn't even try to speak English. So yeah, obviously fanfare, no, it's not there. If you're a real MMA fan, is this a big win? Of course. If you can get past a Spivac, all right, we're still back on track. Here's the thing you got to take into consideration if you're Derrick Lewis. He has already put it out there. I don't really give a shit about fighting for championships, right? I'll fight whoever, whenever, give me some money. That's really what I care about. I like beating people out, or beating people up, I am the knockout king, right? Okay, well, if you set yourself up there, you did it to yourself, man. No one can be mad at of the situation he's in. He's too willing to fight everybody, and sometimes you take a risk and you don't get the biscuit. It kind of is what it is. But at the end of the day, man, he is cannon fodder. Maybe not cannon fodder. Maybe that's not the right term. He's a stepping stone. He's a name that a lot of people are trying to take advantage of right now. I mean, look at it. Tai Tuivasa took advantage of it. Sergey Pavlovich absolutely took advantage of it. Can Sergey Spivak do it? Let's talk X's and O's, brother. I want you to take a real peek at the props real quick. Look at that TKO number on both sides. Plus 150 for Sergey Spivak. Plus 180 for the knockout king, the UFC's knockout king, Derrick Lewis. And Sergey Spivak has a better opportunity, at least in the eyes of the odds makers, to get the knockout. Now, this can happen one of two ways. Odds makers, they'll look at it as Sergey Spivak is going to get in on a double, on a trip, on a something. He's going to put Lewis down. He's going to ground and pound finish like he does everybody else. But my other argument there is, well, you got to get in close on Derrick Lewis to really take him down and put him in that position. Now, when's the last person we saw actually successfully do that against Derrick Lewis and keep him there on the ground and just ground and pound finish? If you had to, don't even look nothing up. Just off the top of your head, is there anything you can think of?
Last person we saw to hold Derrick Lewis down, beat him up, off the top of my head, Man, did he fight the boa constrictor? Because that would be my last guess, but I don't know, Derek. Off the top of my head, without looking at the notes, man, who is it?
Well, when we take a peek right here, the last person to actually take Derrick Lewis down was indeed Alexei Oleinik. Now, did he get the finish? No, he did not. Of course, he did not get the finish, right? Derrick Lewis won via KO round 2. I'm not going to say it wasn't a decent, effort and a good fight, but here's the whole point. You have a dude who's got like 40 career submissions. Get the job done against Derrick Lewis. You look at the last person to take him down after that, Ilir Latifi. The next one after that, Blagoy Ivanov, right? We're talking 2019, 2020. But if we're talking about Curtis Blades, well, we know how that happened. Curtis Blades was piecing him up on the feet, never got the takedown. He lost to Cyril Gahn. Gahn couldn't take him down. Dawkins didn't. Tuivasa didn't. Pavlovich didn't. This is the point that I'm trying to make here. You have to have a very dedicated game plan if you're Sergey Spivak, and you have to be able to get past the initial defenses of a Derrick Lewis to implement that game plan. And I think this fight, and it might sound silly and it might sound even too simplistic, but I think this is what this fight comes down to. Who executes their game plan properly? Can Derrick Lewis hit him with the big bomb before he gets in, or can Spivac get the takedown? And I think whoever executes properly wins. Do you agree, or do you think it's more complicated than that?
No, Derek, I agree with you 100%, man. It's really, can Derrick Lewis stay on his feet, stop the takedowns, throw them uppercuts, throw those knees, keep Spivak at bay, and can Spivak do the exact opposite? Get in close, lock those hands up, get to the hips, dump him, and start beating him up on the ground. Because to me, that makes the most sense. Why those both the two TKO props are where they're at plus 185, plus 150. It seems like game plan. If you're doing any sort of film research, it looks like the odds makers are. Seems like the most logical thing to me is those TKO props, And like you said, whoever performs the game plan the best, whoever shows up the best on that day. And I think that's what makes this fight so hard to actually choose and actually lock down, because we've seen many a time Derrick Lewis is one of the ones that is credited most with the jiu-jitsu doesn't work, just stand up. And Derrick Lewis, if taken down, will just stand up. And how demoralizing is that to a Sergey Spivak, is to a guy who's has been tested, who put down, a guy who also beat Derrick Lewis, Tai Tuivasa, and Spivak put it to Tai as well, but Tai wasn't able to get up. Can Lewis get up? Can he do that? Is this going to be the night that it is? On a rough year, on a slump, I don't know, man. It seems like a tall task, but Derrick Lewis said, he feels like somebody put some voodoo on him, so hopefully himself, he's doing a little extra anti-voodoo, whatever the case is, to kind of get himself feeling on track. I don't know. Do you think he has it in for the year? Personally, I think it's a rough bet for me.
I don't know, man. It's tough because we could rattle off the Tai Tuivasa name all day long, but that was before the streaking Tai Tuivasa we see today, man. So it's not really the same guy, is it? Look at Glover Teixeira when Rumble knocked him out versus Glover Teixeira now. It's not the same guy technically, right? I want to look at it like this though. Sergey Spivak, right, in his last win against Augusto Sakai, right? Augusto Sakai, heavy hitter, right? But he likes to back up. He likes to run in circles, do stuff like that, right? He likes to use a lot of mobility, use that kickboxing. That's fantastic. Look at the win before, Greg Hardy, rough go, but he ended up getting him down, used that power, got him out of there. Look at the fight before that. Tom Aspinall, you got finished due to KO, elbow to ground strikes right there. I'm just saying this, man. When that game plan doesn't originally work, we might be in for some rough sledding. I'm curious, though. How do you feel about that plus 350 submission prop for Sergey Spivak?
It's interesting, man, especially because of if you're looking to hold Derrick Lewis down on the ground and submit him and control him like that. I don't really see that happening, nor do I see Spivak getting something off of the bottom. I know he got I guess speaking of the Tai Tuivasa fight, Spivak got an anaconda, or was it head and arm? I forgot. He got a submission on Tuivasa, but it wasn't like masterfully planned. It seemed like Tuivasa was just dog tired and was with it. And I don't know. I don't see Derrick Lewis doing that exact same thing. More so going out in a shield and just taking a little cage nap, if you will. What do you think?
And you were right. It was a head and arm triangle choke, right? That was the last choke that he actually got. Last choke in his career. Everything else has basically been majority decisions, ground and pound TKO finishes. I think the best way to wrap it up is this. Derrick Lewis has been submitted one time in his UFC career, right? Dude's got a lot of fights. Got 25 fights in the UFC. You've been submitted one time. How many times have you been knocked out? 7 times, right? So it's like the odds right there is that the knockout will probably come before the submission. Either way, if the game plan is that simple, it comes down to who do you have faith in? And it doesn't sound like you have faith in Derrick Lewis. Now, this was going to be my last question for you. Admittedly, he said it, back against the wall. I hate losing one fight, yet alone 3 fights in a row, so I got to turn it around. My question to you comes in the form of, is Derrick Lewis most dangerous when he is acknowledged and admitted that now is go time? He has to get the win. Is he more dangerous, or do you think he's more vulnerable because he's more in his head going into this fight?
I mean, if the well, right while I pull it up because I'm gonna blank the name. If the who's the fight he had? Was it the Curtis Blade? No, where it was basically a standoff.
Francis
Francis
Ngannou, brother.
Ngannou, excuse me.
I feel that we go over this one a lot. I feel like that's like it's such a unimpactful fight with the biggest names. Nobody can ever remember it. But continue, please.
Exactly, man. That's why I was having to pull it up, man. It is so hard to remember. But to that point, everybody was expecting this firefight match, this crazy thing. All the hype was built up. Same, not the exact same aspect, but of the same vein. You got all the pressure on you. You need to win a fight. You need to feed your family. You need all this stuff to go right. The pressure's on, man. And expectations are very, very high in both of those situations. And we saw what happened with the dud before. Now, will he perform like that again? I don't really know. I mean, I'm always a big supporter of the Black Beast, but like Derrick quoted or hinted towards before, I'm not really too sure. I'm not really too sold on the fact that this is going to be his year going in with the mental problems. I know those can add up. So, man, to me personally, I don't really think he's going to be pulling through on this one. Do you have all the confidence going into this one?
I think that if you have been following the career of Derrick Lewis, and if you're an actual MMA fan, yeah, you have to have confidence in Lewis. All it takes is one shot. How can you not have confidence in that? Sergey Spivak kind of got to be perfect. You know what I mean? Look at the Pereira versus Adesanya. It takes one shot, and it happened late in the fight. That's all it takes. We know it can happen. I have faith in Derrick Lewis, and if it means anything, this means nothing. But if it means anything, Derrick Lewis's last 3 losses have come in UFC 277, UFC 271, and UFC 265, right? All pay-per-views, a couple of them in Houston. Last 2 wins against Dawkins and Blades, both Vegas cards, fight night cards. I'm just saying, brother. I'm just saying. I like Derrick Lewis here, man. I want the TKO victory. There's one way this win is going to happen, in my opinion, if you're Derrick Lewis. He says he likes to wrestle. I don't think that's true. I think he likes to stick fists in people's face, get him with the knockout. Now, for me, you're gonna notice a trend here today, AJ, of the over and unders. I'm going to rock with very early round 2 KO. Derrick Lewis, give it to me. What you got?
There we go. Early round 2. Man, I too am rocking with the TKO prop, but folks, I'm not going Derrick Lewis. Like we were saying before, man, I'm rocking with Spivac. And I'm going late, man. I'm going to take the over. I'm going to take late round 3. I think it's going to be a good fight. I think it's going to be a dog fight. My heart's with Derrick Lewis, but my brain is saying Spivac, man. This is a very close fight, folks. You're gonna have to tune into this one, man.
Absolutely, and this is gonna be a fantastic main event here, folks. I think this is gonna be a fight that divides the country, man. Honestly, this is one of those. It's a generational crossing roads, man. Are you picking the young dark horse coming up, or are you gonna pick the OG established Derrick Lewis, who's been doing it for years and years and years? Only time will tell. There you go, folks. All right, man. Now moving on to an interesting co-main event. Stylistically and just name-wise, Kennedy Nzechuwku versus Ion Cutelaba. Now, you got a Kennedy Nzechuwku here, man, who has been surging. He's coming off a very big win against Carl Roberson, but he's carrying into this fight something that he has carried with a lot of his opponents, man. And honestly, that's just like a stylistic edge, a frame edge. He has an 8-inch reach advantage on Ion Cutelaba here, bro, and I think that's just kind of one of those things where it's like what? Like you have what going into this? Talk about a freak of nature. Talk about a dude with just a fantastic, massive frame. You got to talk about Kennedy Nzechuwku. Now, the question that I have going into this fight is experience versus sheer power, grit, and will. Ion Cutelaba has been doing it for a long time, hasn't had the most success. But when we're talking about styles make fights here, AJ, we're talking about Kennedy Nzechuwku, 6'5". Let's see the reach. What's the reach looking like? What is the reach looking like? I don't even know what the reach is. It's long. We know that for sure. Can you pull that up for me, AJ?
83-inch reach.
83-inch reach. And if we do a little deduction here, we know that he has an 8-inch reach advantage. Ion Cutelaba 6'1", with, I'm guessing, a 75-inch reach at this point. So what that tells me right there is that, first off, Kennedy Nzechuwku does not have a light heavyweights frame right here. This dude's John Jones in it, basically, with that type of frame. And Ion Cutelaba's biggest strengths are 2 things. Fast starter, powerful, get to the legs. How do you accomplish any one of those things when you got a dude who can hit you from across the goddamn cage, who has a massive sprawl, and who also kind of likes to wrestle himself, man? How does Ion Cutelaba have success in this fight?
I think you just got to catch him early and catch him unexpected, man. Hit him hard and then go with the old school Mike Tyson approach, man. Everybody has a game plan until they get punched in the mouth. And if Nzechukwu is able to get punched in the mouth with the power that Ion, has, I feel like that would be the one thing that kind of disrupts him. I mean, you could go back to the Carl Roberson approach where he really was kind of picking him apart, choosing his things and really outclassing Nzechukwu, but hitting him hard at the same time. I just don't see that kind of tactician style fight coming from Cutelaba. Now, that might be a thing. We have seen the evolution of Cutelaba really come into play, where he was that marauder, where he was that guy just walking everybody down. And then he kind of starts taking those L's, taking a couple losses and having to learn who he was as a guy, as a fighter. And now he's kind of a little more reserved, but I don't know, Derrick. Do you think he's reserved enough to be that tactician in there and pick apart Nzechukwu and literally duck under all those shots coming, avoid the knees, get in, get to the hips, take him down, beat him up? Is he going to be that tactful, or are we going to see just a marauder going in there and a human punching bag walking at you and hopefully looking for one of those lucky KOs we always talk about?
Short answer. Is he going to be tactful and being a technician? No. Long answer, no, absolutely not. No, I think Ion Cutelaba, his number one strength right here and his path to victory, the best path to victory, is start fast and get on Kennedy's ass, bro. Pardon my phrasing or whatever the case may be. Either get in on a double, keep him down and work that ground and pound, work a submission quick, or get in there and try to knock him out ASAP. And the reason why is because Kennedy Nzechuwku is notably a slow starter. We've seen it time and time and time again. I do feel that he has progressed massively over the last couple of fights. And I did want to make a note, man. He actually had noted in his pre-fight presser that he's made a lot of drastic changes in the 4-month training camp leading up to the fight. He has worked on fixing his slow starter reputation, and who will adequately utilize that 8-inch reach advantage right there. So when you have all of that kind of coming into play, you have to take into consideration he knows Cutelaba is a fast starter, so you're going to have to mitigate that somehow, some way. We saw in the Roberson fight, man, and Nzechukwu likes to wrestle a little bit, bro. I don't know if you've ever tried to take down a dude who's 4 inches taller than you, but I'll tell you, when you got that much legs, it's tough, bro. You got to get in deep on that single. Trust me, I do it every single night at the gym, man. Deep on the single, and I'm like, bro, I'm not letting this long-ass leg go nowhere. I can't, right? Ion Cutelaba, we know he's very high level, but I'm also pretty positive he is not a traditional, like a freestyle wrestler. He's more of a Greco-Roman. So that's going to be even more difficult, yet he'd have more success because if you can get in the hips on Nzechukwu, that's where Carl Roberson had the most success. So at the end of the day, over and under on this fight here, AJ, like I said, you're going to see a trend. 1.5 rounds, right? The over is getting a little bit of love from the odds makers, -125. If this fight were to end short, who is getting the better of who? Is it Cutelaba with a knockout, a submission? Is Kennedy Nzechuwku put a backpack on him and just ground and pound him like he did to Carl Roberson? How are you seeing this play out?
I know. If this one's going short, Derrick, I'm thinking this one's Cutelaba all day long, man. Like you said, the slow start of Nzechukwu, the amount he needs to get kind of in that flow, even that grappling position where he's really dominating you. I think he does need a little bit more time to kind of wear you down, especially with the power and explosiveness that Cutelaba has. So if this one's ended before or on the short, on the under, this one's definitely going to Cutelaba. But like in that Carl Roberson fight, if Nzechukwu able to kind of wear down Cutelaba, then that's when I see that backpack come in, and that's when we see the ground and pound. That's when we see the really taking of the soul of Cutelaba again, and then we really see Nzechukwu get to work, man. So that's kind of where I'm leaning with the over on that one. But if this one, do you agree with me? This one goes short. This is Cutelaba all day long, or does Nzechukwu stand a chance in that short time frame?
I think Nzechukwu definitely stands a chance in that short time range, especially if Cutelaba is trying to close the distance, and Nzechukwu can utilize that reach and just pop him with one, man. He's aggressive. We know he is, and that's why this is a difficult fight for me, because I do think Cutelaba could win this fight. I absolutely think he can win this fight, but Kennedy has been getting better and better and better every fight, bro. So for me, honestly, I have to roll with the new blood here. It's always hard for me to turn down a fighter who has 4 inches in height and 8 inches in reach. Come on, bro. Styles make fights, and I just think that this is Nzechukwu's fight to win unless he just gets completely dominated in the grappling. But I'm actually going to go with a maybe controversial pick. Not necessarily controversial, but I think a lot of people think Nzechukwu is going to come in and just finish Cutelaba. I'm going to go decision on this one, man. I think Cutelaba is tough. I think he's going to risk it, but I also think when it comes to the grappling exchanges, he'll be able to hold his own enough to force out a decision. And, I mean, who knows, man? I think I could see him winning some rounds just based off of effective grappling and using pure power and strength over Nzechukwu's long frame. So might bite me in the ass to come back when it comes on the over and under scores, but I am rolling with Kennedy Nzechukwu. Personally, folks, if you're rolling with my picks, play the money line. Play that minus 170 right there. I'm not confident enough in any one of these prop bets right here, not even the decision. I like the minus 170, but if I got to pick, give me the plus 300 decision for Kennedy Nzechukwu. How you seeing it, brother?
I'm with you, Derek. I think that's a safe bet with the money line for Nzechukwu. This one can end in a multitude of ways. And again, another fight where it's so close that, man, I was sitting there back and forth. Cutelaba and Nzechukwu. Which way is going to be the way it goes down, man? Personally, I'm actually rocking Nzechukwu, and I'm going TKO. But I've been debating over the over-under, man. I'm going over. I'm going to take the over, man. I'm going to go early round 3. You said 2.5, correct, Derek?
No, it's actually 1.5. So you're safe on that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Over either way, man. I'm going early round 3, TKO for Kennedy Nzechukwu.
Money. All right, shout out to Nzechukwu right there, man. But you got to Cutelaba, dangerous man. All right, bro. Now we have a familiar face right here, AJ, and I kind of wanted to talk about this. Chase Sherman, the Vanilla Gorilla, right? Fan favorite here on this program, the Bloody Water Podcast, taking a short notice bout against a UFC newcomer who's also taking a short notice bout, Waldo Cortes-Acosta. Now you got to look at it like this, right? Chase Sherman, to be specific, he had a fight lined up against Josh Parisian 2 weeks ago on November 5th, the Marina Rodriguez versus Amanda Lemos card, right? Got scrapped day of the fight. Josh Parisian had some medical stuff going on. I mean, listen, you never know what happened, so you got to just respect it. Chase Sherman calls a little BS there. He says, I don't know, it sounded like he had an anxiety attack. I'm not a doctor, but I'm just saying, right? When they ask, do you like this fight better or worse? What do you think? He says, honestly, man, I could see how this fight's better for me in some ways, but I can also see how this fight is a little tougher for me in some ways. Do you want the Josh Parisian fight? Oh, I absolutely want that fight back. So when your mind is so on that last fight, that money fight, not a money fight, but that fight that you had, that you thought going into it, I got this shit, man. I'm about to put it on his ass. I'm walking out with 50Ks. Dana, give me the bonus. And then you get a Waldo Cortes-Acosta, who, if you're looking at it right now when I'm pulling it up, man, let's look at the differences here. Chase Sherman with all of 6'4", right, 78-inch reach. Same type situation for Waldo Cortes-Acosta, 6'4", 78-inch reach. But there's a difference because Cortes-Acosta fights very long, right? He kind of dances around the ring. Chase Sherman, he's that old school bare knuckle, baby. Let's get down, swing, and bang, you know what I'm saying? So what do you make of that? I just wanted to bring that out there because short notice for both guys, right? Cortes-Acosta just fought too. If you look at it, he fought Jared Vanderaa a week, 2 days, and 17 hours ago, brother. So, this dude is fucking ready to go. You know what I'm saying? It's tough on both ends, but what do you make of Chase Sherman's, words coming into this fight?
Tough on both ends is an understatement, Derek. This is going to be an absolute scrap, man. To me, this has fight of the night written all over it because it's a short notice fight, because it's a heavyweight fight, and because both of these dudes are scrappers, bro. Both of these dudes are gamers, man. If you go back and, like you said, if you go back a week and 7 days, whatever the time frame was, less than 2 weeks ago, you go back and you watch Waldo Cortes-Acosta, a.k.a. Salsa Boy, and you got to see why they call him that, dude, because this dude's got moves, man. Nonetheless, like you said, he's dancing in there, but he's got a little shimmy to the hips. He's got some shake in those feet, and he has some shoulder rolls and some beautiful head movement in there, and nonetheless, an absolute bomb of a right hand. If Chase Sherman, the Vanilla Gorilla, is going to come in and kind of provide that old school bare knuckle, I hit you, you hit me, I hit you, you hit me tag kind of style of fight, this is going to be a hard one, man, because Cortes-Acosta does not stand around to get hit at all, but he is there to just stay light on, or heavy on his front foot and just stay light on those hands and piece you up. Now, to that point, like we saw in the Vanderaa fight less than 2 weeks ago, Vanderaa ate that front leg up. So if Chase Sherman can get close on the inside and just start eating that leg up, take the power and the speed away from that front hand of Cortes-Acosta, now we're talking about a dogfight. Now we're in the game mode. Do you see the same kind of a game plan coming out of the Chase Sherman? And do you see this dogfight I'm talking about, or you see something else here, Derek?
No, I see that. That's what made me fall in love with Chase Sherman's game originally, is the Muay Thai. When he is fighting a striker who's not going to shoot on it, that's the most beautiful Chase Sherman performance you're going to get. Straight out of Mississippi. Give it to me bare knuckle style. Pause, because that sounded a little weird. But, the dude is legit, and he's ready to go. You know what I'm saying? Waldo Cortes-Acosta, the thing that worries me is, like I said, or like you said, sometimes he's just not there to to be hit, man. And Chase Sherman can plod just a little bit, you know what I mean? So when we put ourselves in this situation, this is kind of like a reversal of the last fight that we just talked about. The last fight, I said, I think it's going to go decision, but I'm uneasy because I do think it could end in a knockout. Here, I'm calling a TKO finish, but I can see this fight definitely ending in a decision just based off of these two styles. Fight of the night doesn't always mean knockout, right? So, because that's performance. That's performance bonus right there. Performance of the night, right? But let's talk about it, man. Is it possible one of these fighters shoots? We know Chase Sherman's not going to shoot, but does Cortes-Acosta shoot? I guess let me clear it up.
I don't think so, Derek. I don't think so, man. I think we're in store, especially with the way Cortes-Acosta likes to fight. He's very bravado. He's very alpha and aggressive in there. Shit, he got hit with some shots and literally shouted at Jared Vanderaa, just gave him a gorilla scream. I don't think this dude shoot. I think we're in store for an old school playground fight right here, Derek. First one to shoot's a bitch, and it's gonna be a swinging and banging match, bro. That's why I said I think this is gonna be fight of the night, man. I'm very excited for this fight right here.
Talk to me though. What does that bravado do? What does that bring out of Chase Sherman if Cortes-Acosta brings that? I don't think that plays out in his favor. Right? I think Chase Sherman, you want to do that? Oh man, you're gonna bring out an animal in him. You agree with me, I'm guessing, right?
Oh, 100%, Derek.
Yeah.
Chase Sherman is, and the reason why he's so good at playing that kind of tag style of fight, because you hit him, you get him a little bloody. Chase Sherman is going to stand there in front of your face and be there ready for the scrap, man. This is a very, very fun fight.
Okay, last question, then we'll move on here. We'll talk about the odds a little bit. Obviously, Cortes-Acosta, UFC newcomer, minus 190 favorite. It's just you got to feel for Chase Sherman. It's just because of the track record Sherman's had as of late. I would believe 1-4 in your last 5, right? What does it mean to you? You got the undefeated guy, Waldo Cortes-Acosta, right? He's coming into this fight, and he, like I just said, literally, if you pull up the stats, 1 week, 2 days, and 17 hours ago was the last time that he fought. Chase Sherman, on the other hand, his last time that he fought was 4 months ago. Right? So even though this is short notice on both ends, I mean, who bears the brunt here? Who's in a tougher situation? Is it Sherman or Cortes-Acosta?
Cortes-Acosta all day long right here, Derek. I mean, I'm sure you've eaten a couple leg kicks in your day as well. But folks, if you haven't, you take one and you don't really want to walk the next day. Yeah. You fight a Jared Vanderaa where you eat, 15? I don't have the stats up right now, but he was chewing that leg up. And that's exactly where, if I'm Chase Sherman's coaches, man, that's the first thing we're working on. Whichever style of fight you want to go at it, inside, outside leg kicks, we're just going to be spamming those and head movement all day long and try to play that tag style of fight because the ego is there to be fought against Cortes-Acosta.
And that makes me just wonder, and we'll get off of this fight after this one. It's like, why do you think, because I'm looking at the leg attacks. Yeah, I mean, shoot, bro, you want to be real about it. 39 of 41 for Jared Vanderaa on Acosta. A week removed, why is he such a favorite in the odds makers' eyes? Like, why do you think so?
It has to be the track record of a Chase Sherman, man. I mean, just this guy going back and forth in and out of the UFC on a 4-fight losing streak until he gets the one. It was against Jared Vanderaa, correct? The one Chase Sherman just fought.
The one Chase Sherman fought.
Chase Sherman just fought. Yeah, it was Jared Vanderaa.
That was 4 months ago. Yeah.
Yeah, both of these dudes just fought Jared Vanderaa. And if I remember correctly, Chase Sherman was losing that fight. Was he losing that fight?
He was absolutely losing that fight. And then he caught him in the 3rd round. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that has to be why this is tracking that way, because it was on its way to a 5-fight losing streak and possibly the eviction of Chase Sherman again for the 3rd time now from the UFC. But you come back with those heavy meat mallets, man, and it saves his contract for another fight. I do think that's why the odds makers are hating though.
Fair point. All right, brother. Well, how you have it? I like Waldo Cortes-Acosta. Give me the TKO. I just think that the style, the dancing, the rhythm, I think it's going to be a little bit too much for the flat-footed Chase Sherman. Not always flat-footed, but that heavy Muay Thai stance. But how do you see it, brother? And I'm taking, by the way, the over on this one. Give me the over for the TKO.
It's 1.5.
Yeah, another trend. Like I said, 1.5 rounds, bro. I think so. Just so it's out there, every single fight on this card, 1.5. On the main card, 1.5 rounds for every single fight.
Interesting. Yeah, that is interesting. I'm going TKO. I'm going Waldo Cortes-Acosta, and I'm actually going to take the under, man. I'm gonna take early round 2. I'm gonna take the under for this one. Like I said, man, if this is the people's main event, this is my main event. I think this is going to be a fun fight. Hopefully, it's not a snoozer when it's two kickboxers going at it. Let's hope, have fingers crossed for this one.
Let's just say it might be, because a lot of people do not love how Cortes-Acosta loves to showboat, but there's not a lot of action going on in the fight. Let's just say that. All right, brother. We'll move on to the next one. That's a fun fight. I actually didn't think we would spend that much time on that fight, but that is a very fun fight. Now, for this next one that we got right here, this is high level right here, brother. This is as high level as it gets. You got Andre Fialho versus Muslim Salikhov, man. And this is a fight where both dudes are coming off of losses, right? Fialho, you got put on by Jake Matthews, man. You got put on by a wrestler. You got boxed up. You got cleaned up. Shout out Dustin Poirier. Muslim Salikhov, you got cleaned up against Li Jingliang. Now, I wanted to talk about Muslim Salikhov specifically, man. He had actually noted in his pre-fight presser, he says, listen, I changed everything after my loss against Li Jingliang, which could either be a really good thing or you could be like, hold on, bro, maybe you shouldn't be changing everything. But given this matchup, I think it might be a good thing. Now, this is what he had noted. He says, listen, I had to change up my camp. Normally I was training overseas and all that stuff, back where he's from. But I come to America. I'm training at American Top Team now. And now I'm more comfortable anywhere the fight goes. I don't care if it's wrestling, jiu-jitsu, whatever. He actually noted, too, that he likes American wrestling more than traditional like Sambo-style wrestling. Because Sambo-style wrestling is more technical and American freestyle wrestling is more powerful, is what he noted. I thought that was an interesting thing to take away. Either way, the last thing that he had noted, which was of note to me, is that he's going to continue to do his training camps at American Top Team because it's the best gym to grow your wrestling. Now, AJ, I mentioned one word a bunch of times right now. What was that one word? What's that key word?
Man, training? I don't know, Derek.
You're close.
Wrestling?
That's it. Wrestling. I said it a bunch of times, right? And I don't say it just to say it. I say it because look at this matchup. If there's one guy who you want to kind of avoid just a pure striking battle and you want to mix it up on, it's probably Andre Fialho, right? So given Muslim Salikhov is putting so much stock in American Top Team, we're training wrestling every day, I'm grinding, I'm comfortable anywhere the fight goes. Given all the peripherals of the persona, the conversation that's coming about, it makes you think that's why the man is, it's basically a pick'em, but a slight favorite. We know he's the Kung Fu master, or whatever, his nickname is, right? But if you can mix it up and you can put Fialho on his back and you can start working some jiu-jitsu and really work that wrestling, this is your opportunity to get back on your winning ways. Now, I made a big deal out of all of that. You tell me. I mean, fact or fiction? You feel me? Is this some nonsense? Am I reading way too into it? Or do you think that this is the most appropriate game plan to mitigate the style of an Andre Fialho?
Derek, I know the word, but I'm blanking the word, man. You might be able to help me out where an author will write something in foreshadowing. I don't know if you had it there. Either way, Derek, I think you're doing a little bit of foreshadowing here right now, man, because I feel like I agree with you entirely, one. But I feel like Muslim Salikhov, in his last fight, sure, it was a loss. But when he was performing at his best, feeling at his best, and in kind of that mojo and the flow state, it's when he had Li Jingliang, on his back and in the wrestling. I was watching a couple of these Muslim Salikhov fights, and when he's able to mix it up, sure, obviously striking phenomenal. This dude on his feet, you don't get a spinning heel kick knockout on a savage like Melvin Gillard early in your career if you don't already have the fundamentals down. So Salikhov on the feet is one thing, but I thought Salikhov looked to be not at his most comfortable, but at his safest, if you will, whenever he was working the ground game against Li Jingliang. Whenever he's able to mix it up, take this into a washing machine, get it to the ground, that's when I feel like this is going to be where Salikhov feels at his safest and has Fialho drowning, man, looking for ways out, panicking in a frantic move, and then that's when Salikhov can come in and get the finish. Now, you already said that your emphasis on the wrestling, but do you believe it as well? Do you think this is going to be the game plan? Because Fialho can strike with some of the best of them, and like you said, I think since Fialho is getting outpieced by a Jake Matthews on the feet, a wrestler boxing you up, I think Fialho is going to come back and try to prove that he has some hands. And that's where we're going to see Salikhov kind of really either take this into a kicking match, keep him at bay, or what I think is going to be more prevalent is working that ground game, working that wrestling. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think that's the game plan for Muslim Salikhov, bro. You got to wrestle. You got to mix it up. You got to make this an MMA fight. Andre Fialho is going to be coming out fiery. He had already mentioned, he said, I overlooked Jake Matthews. I looked past him. I already thought that I beat him before I even stepped in the cage. He's not going to make that same mistake twice. So you got to double down and you got to make sure that you're not just trying to fight fire with fire. Even though Salikhov is a fantastic counter striker, I think that this is going to be a very interesting match depending on how mixed up it can be. Now let's talk about the props, man. Very much a pick 'em on the money lines, right? Looking at the TKO prop, obviously Andre Fialho with the plus 185 TKO. A lot of people are predicting it, man. A lot of people they're calling it flat out. Give me the second round knockout. Fialho gets it done. I don't think it's that simple. I think it's an easy pick, and I'm not going to lie to you. When I first saw this matchup announced, I said, give me Fialho with the knockout. And then I thought about it deeply. And I really think Muslim Salikhov can drag this out to a decision, man. I don't see a knockout coming from Muslim Salikhov. I don't really see a submission coming. Look at that plus 2,000 submission. But I could see him grinding out Andre Fialho to a very close decision to kind of wrap it up that way. I'm going to put my bread and butter right there, man. I'm going to say it straight up. Muslim Salikhov, mix it up, be dangerous, right? And every time you lull him into that striking battle where he overcommits, shoot him for the double, just watch your head and don't get kneed into oblivion. Give me the Muslim Salikhov decision victory and give me the over right there. But I'm interested to hear what you think, man, because I don't think it's as cut and dry either as just take him down and wrestle him and you win that way. I think it's going to be a back and forth battle. What do you think?
Derrick, I'm in agreement with you 100%, and all I got to add to that is watch out for the uppercuts too, man, because Fialho has some very fast hands. No, man, this is one. If this wasn't the hardest fight to pick, this is definitely in second or all tied for first place with a couple other fights on this fight card, man, because this is a very hard one to see how it's going to go down. And I mean, another, who's going to be better on the day? Who are those? Are the movements going to align? Are the stars going to align for your fighter? Are the stars going to align for the other fighter? What's going to happen? This is a very, very close fight. And proving it, the odds makers, man, minus 105, minus 115 for both for the fighters. Man, this is another very fun and what I feel is going on an unannounced fight card. But either way, I'm rocking Muslim Salikhov, and I'm going with decision. I'm taking the over. I agree with you, Derrick. I think this is going to be a grind fest, a technical war, but still a very close war nonetheless. Look out for Salikhov. And also, I mean, Fialho, if folks, if you're feeling a kind of way, this is one of the ones I also think is a stay away bet. You know, if you're really trying to put some money on this one, both fighters can win. So watch out.
This is a fight where you bet only to get your heart broken. Honestly, like this is one of those. Like you just stay away at all costs if you have the opportunity to do so. This is the last fight I would ever recommend any of you guys to bet on. But given that this is a wagering program, I mean, shoot, what's the play here, AJ? Is it between the plus 240 decision and the minus 115? Do we just play the money line? Do you just say stick it smart and just play the over? Don't even play a side, just play the over? Or like, how do you see it?
If you're having to put down, I know I'd go with the decision. I'd go with the over. I'd go with the decision. Salikhov, I feel like that's his way. And Fialho, homeboy is hard to put away. Did he get put away by Jake Matthews? Yeah, but that was I feel like a Jake Matthews we've never seen before. So I don't know. He's very hard. How many times has Fialho been knocked out? Do you know off the top of your head?
Not off the top of my head, but let's take a very quick peek. I could find that information out for you. It looks like in his career, the knockouts have come 1, 2, 3 times. 3 knockouts, brother. 3 knockouts, 2 decisions. So it's possible. But yeah, I guess that's the play. If you're me, like I said, I'm not even picking that. I'll just play the over. Just play go this fight to not go within the distance if you have that opportunity to bet on. But, you know, interesting fight, fun fight. And let's move on to the opening bout of the card, man. Jack Della Maddalena versus Danny Roberts, man. A little bit of heat going on here, man. Maddalena saying, hey, I don't think Danny Roberts is too technical of a striker. And Roberts rebutes, whatever you say with, why don't you shut your fucking mouth, you know? So how does Jack Della Maddalena, when he gets word of this, what does he do? Does he get mad? Does he get angry? He says, okay, I will keep it to myself until I knock your ass out. You know what I'm saying? When we come and fight on Saturday night, so it's all good. Listen, man, this is 2 fighters on 2 different levels right here. Jack Della Maddalena, 12-0 right now. He's on a pretty hefty streak, and he's fighting a Danny Roberts who just dropped his last one to a Francisco Trinaldo. So take that for what it's worth. Trinaldo still game, still veteran, still hungry, right? But that's not the guy you should be losing to and then expect to put a fantastic performance on Della Maddalena. Now, taking into consideration, he had flashes, bro. He had moments in that fight that he looked good against Trinaldo. But let's take it back to his last win, AJ. You remember Danny Roberts' last win? It was a very surprising one. It was against the fantastic Russian wrestler, Ramazan Emeev. But, AJ, we got to talk about it a little bit, man. And I hate that I have to do this, but even though a win is a win is a win, we're heading to MMADecisions.com. And we are going to take a quick peek at Danny Roberts defeats Ramazan Emeev back on October 16th, 2021. Mark Smith refereeing. Look at this, bro. 2 people and both Sherdog guys, they had Roberts winning. Everybody else had Emeev winning. Emeev was even pissed off, man. If you look at the comments, they're like, come on, bro. Come on. 10-9, 10-9, 9-10. If you're looking at the takedowns, you're looking at, oh, shit, that's not what I meant to do. There we go. You're looking at the takedowns, you're looking at all that stuff, man. The tail of the tape goes, Ramazan Emeev probably should have won that fight. However, Danny Roberts got the win on paper. So you come in confident there, but that win doesn't age nearly as well given you really look at it and you're like, I don't know. Is Della Maddalena going to wrestle him? No, but a lot of people are predicting a first-round knockout. Now, let's take a look at this minus 175 TKO prop for Jack Della Maddalena. That is almost disrespectful. Danny Roberts is a good fighter. That's disrespectful. That's just like, whoa, you have no faith in this dude. You think he's really just going to get out of there immediately. Now, can he be mad? Jack Della Maddalena is coming off of back-to-back first-round knockout victories. So, I mean, are you mad, AJ, or do you respect it?
No, I'm not mad, but if I'm in the camp of a Danny Roberts, man, we're a little pissed off, man. If I'm fighting against a guy minus 175, woo, boy, there's some heat going into that camp. But I mean, all with all due respect, I mean, Jack Della Maddalena, you gotta go with the man until somebody proves something else. And are they against the top of the top fighters that he's been knocking out in round one? I mean, Ramazan Emeev, Rodriguez, not necessarily, but they are fighting at the top of the heap, or them not the top of the heap, excuse me. They are fighting in the top organization, excuse me, of fighters. So it is top tier fighters, and arguably you lost one against one of the guys that Jack Della Maddalena absolutely starched. So it's a hard, very hard fight here for Danny Roberts going into this one, and I can see why. If you go look at the Tapology, I believe something like 96% of people are looking for that win by Maddalena, and 84% of them are looking at a KO. I mean, it's hard to bet right here for Danny Roberts, but you got to feel for him, man. This is a rough one. There are some faithfuls out there. 48% of the 4% they're betting for him are looking for a KO. But man, this is a tough sledding. Do you have any faith here for Danny Roberts, or are you just kind of count him out too?
No, I do, man. I think if he can clinch up Della Maddalena, man, if he can work in some good knees, work in those elbows, man, really just make it a dog fight. He's like, listen, bro, I'm the biggest underdog on the card. I relish this role. I'm an underdog in life, whatever, that fuels me. I hope it's not bravado, but do I think he has an opportunity to win? It's a fight, bro. Absolutely, you have an opportunity to win. Now, would I bet on a Danny Roberts? No. I'm betting on Jack Della Maddalena, 7 days of the week, man. 8 days if I could, in this fight specifically, just because I do think Della Maddalena is too sharp of a striker for Danny Roberts, and it's going to be tough if Roberts tries to take it to the ground. I don't think he'll be able to get Maddalena to the ground, and I don't think Maddalena's going to be shooting. So it's going to be like you either knuckle up or you get up out the ring. It's going to be one of two options. I like Della Maddalena for the technical style, ability to cut off the cage and just put forward pressure on, counter strike immaculately. I feel like that's not even the proper way to use that word, but immaculate counter striking. That's what I mean. I don't have much else to say on this one other than I do like Maddalena here. I like the TKO here. I just see no value in this prop in the minus 175. I would not recommend anybody to be betting on this or betting on Jack Della Maddalena at all whatsoever, because at the end of the day, you have more to lose than you do have to gain here. There's no value in this play. If you want to bet Danny Roberts at your leisure, I wouldn't do it. Give me the Della Maddalena TKO in round 2 and give it to me like mid round 2. I'll take the slight over, just like a touch over the over. You know what I mean? 5-10 seconds over the over. Give me the TKO. How do you see it, brother?
Yeah, I was going with the over on this one as well, Derrick, and I too am going TKO. I'm going to go round 3, though. I'm going to give Danny Roberts a little credit here. I think he's going to take Maddalena into a little bit of deep waters. We're going to have to prove and see the mettle of Maddalena going into this. But either way, I'm still rocking with the Aussie. He's Australian, right?
He is Australian, yes, sir. It's the UK versus Australia right here.
Yeah, rocking with the Aussie. TKO, round 3.
All right, brother. And to call it, just for Jack Della Maddalena, to talk about a tongue twister, just to make it clear so we're on the same page here, we're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 finishes in a row before a decision to win against Angelusa over on the Contender Series. Then he follows it up with 2 more finishes. So let's just say Jack Della Maddalena is absolutely a finisher. All right, folks, that is your main card. And if you were looking for just the quick picture that you could screenshot and you can go run to your sports book and drop in some picks, well, I'll give you the 4 Bloody Water Podcast consensus picks. We are rocking with Kennedy Nzechuwku, Waldo Cortes-Acosta, Muslim Salikhov, and Jack Jack Della Maddalena. Now, if you want to go by the my side and AJ side, right, then I'm rocking with the Black Beast, Derrick Lewis. You know what time it is for that main event, and he is rocking with the Polar Bear, Sergey Spivak. So, with that being said, folks, listen, there's much on the line this week. However, there's only going to be one pick that's going to be differentiating who's going to be winning and who's going to be losing on the week. I did have to put it out there. But AJ, man, quick question before we move on. Which fight are you least confident about from the picks that you have?
Ooh, it has to be the Salikhov Fialho fight, man. That one, I literally, but down to the last couple minutes, man, I was watching tape just thinking, who the fuck? Like, I know I already sent in my picks. I know who I'm rocking with, but damn, this is going to be a close fight. What about you?
Lewis Spivak, man. Honestly, like I said, if it comes down to either Lewis lands the bomb or he gets taken down, I mean, shit, that's not a fight you want to bet on, but you gotta have steel cojones in this game if you want to have some success. With that being said, brother, let's move on to the sleepers because we're running out of time here. Let's get it.
It's time for some fight night.
And if you ain't paying attention, you're gonna sleep on me and I'm gonna wake you up.
All right, folks. So, welcome to the Sleeper Edition Bloody Water Podcast, episode 183. You already know what time it is. We're gonna keep it short and sweet for you guys and just let you know, like we're at the bar, 30-second pitch. Why do you need to watch this fight? And if you don't mind, AJ, I'd love to go first. So I'm going to be talking about a women's strawweight bout here, and I'm only bringing this fight up, one, because I'm a little bit of a homer. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Maria Oliveira, right? She's over there. There's a Vegas connection. Let's just say that, man. Ran into her at a couple local Fuji jiu-jitsu tournaments and stuff like that, and she's a fun fighter, man. She's long, rangy, fantastic striking, fantastic jiu-jitsu, and I think that she's going to have a lot of measurable advantages against Vanessa Demopoulos, who all you need to do is take one look at this 10-inch reach advantage. My lord, I mean, I talked about an 8-inch reach advantage earlier. We got 10 inches over here. We got fantastic jiu-jitsu, and Demopoulos does one thing and one thing really good. She brings it, you know what I'm saying? And we also have another little connection, how the world kind of intertwines itself in a circle. We remember the interview that I did many moons ago, AJ, over here for what used to be All Factors Considered with Valerie Soto, right? Maiha, right? She fought Vanessa Demopoulos in LFA for a championship. Came up a little bit short, right? But this is the circle of life that we got here. So we got one home favorite, Maria Oliveira. You got Vanessa Demopoulos, who did the Joe Rogan jumping in the arms and all that. This is going to be a banger. On the feet, on the ground. It doesn't matter where it goes because both of these ladies have phenomenal jiu-jitsu and can strike with the best of them. It's going to be a fun one. Could end up in a finish too. This is going to be a very interesting and intriguing fight. That's why you need to tune into it. Trust me, Bloody Water Podcast, sleeper pick on deck right there. You already know what time it is. All right, my man. What you got for me?
Ooh, Derrick, you're right, bro. Tune into the homie scrapping because she gets it done. This is going to be a very fun fight, man. You got me too, Derrick. I got a very, very fun one, and it's actually right underneath yours. Brady Highstand versus Fernie Garcia. Now, I was actually thinking about how you mentioned the fight right above this before, man, to Ricky Tercios versus Kevin Natividad, folks. If you're listening to the show last week, we're both very hyped for that one, but I decided to go right below that, right below these two, man, and go with another guy who was fighting in the same Ultimate Fighter that Ricky Tercios was, lost a fight to him, but is still an absolute savage and down for a brawl. Either way, there's a reason they named him Bam Bam. Brady Highstand is going to be standing toe-to-toe with Fernie Garcia, and if there's ever a dude who's willing and able to bite down on the mouthpiece and stand in a phone booth with you, it's Fernie Garcia, man. And don't let the name fool you. Fernando, it's nothing to be trifled with. This dude has some absolute bombs in his hands, and I think this is going to be a very, very fun fight between two fighters who really need to prove who they are and discover kind of how their career is going to go. Are they going to be this fighter that's just continuously fighting on the undercards, not being noticed, not being seen, or are they going to be the personality that they probably could have been in either the Contender Series? And I believe Fernie was also, I don't have the notes up right now, but I believe Fernie was fighting in the Contender Series as well, or the Ultimate Fighter Contender Series. Either way, these dudes got a camera on them, and they're going to be swinging and banging for a lot of fun for us folks. So tune into the prelim cards to make sure you watch this one, man. It's going to be a fun one. What was it, Derrick? Contender Series?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There we go.
Yeah, he had a pretty storied career, man, in LFA before he went over and made his Contender Series debut. But either way, that will be a fun fight. Let's not forget Brady Highstand. One of the reasons why I don't think he had as much success coming into the UFC, he still got signed, right, is during TUF, he injured his knee. So it's kind of tough to fight in tough when you're, got a hurt knee, man. So I'm just saying there. Also, massive monster of a man for 135 pounds. Can we just take that into consideration? All right, brother. So with that being said, those are your sleepers. Now, AJ, let's hit a very, very brief prelim pour over right here and just talk about a couple of the fights that we missed out on. So I want to kick it started, brother, and I'm just going to mention them. Given that we're so short on time, let's just make it super quick. Charles Johnson, Zhalgas Zhumagulov. This is going to be a fun fight, bro. Charles Johnson, obviously, he had to almost kind of make the sacrifice and fight Muhammad Mokaev in his last one. Zhalgas Zhumagulov, on the other hand, he lost his last two, right, to Manel Kape and Jeff Molina. Got the win over our boy, Jerome Rivera, New Mexico, Santa Fe's own, right? Lost to Albazi, lost to Paiva. Let's just say this dude has fought probably a absolute killer's row in that flyweight division and hasn't really been credited for it. But the one credit that he did get is you're still in the UFC. Why? Because you're taking the tough fights. Now you have a get-right fight to a degree, but it's still going to be a tough one. What do you think about it?
Man, this is going to be a very tough one, and I think the credit goes to Zhumagulov right here. There's a reason he's fighting at the highlighted prelim fight. This dude's a fun fighter, and like you said, it's unfortunate he beat up the homie, but there's a reason this dude is still in the game, man. This is a very fun fighter, and to go against a Charles Johnson, who, you're right, took one on the sword or fell on a sword to get your shot into it. I think any of us would have done the same, man. You willing to take an ass whooping to get a contract in the UFC? Hell yeah, sign me up. If this is your dream, that's what it takes. And Charles Johnson proved he's down. This is going to be a fun fight, man.
Absolutely. Charles Johnson, let's just say, because Zhumagulov, fantastic kickboxer. Johnson got some crispy boxing. So I don't know who I like on this one. I'm not going to give a pick, but it's going to be a fun fight. We'll just say that. All right, brother. So let me hit on a couple of these other ones and we'll get up out of here. I just wanted to touch on this super quick. Jennifer Maia, Marina Moroz. Kind of surprised that it's not on the main card because this is a high-stakes fight. These are the only other two ranked fighters on the card. Number 15th ranked Marina Moroz, and I want to say Jennifer Maia is coming in at number 8 in the flyweight division, I believe. Yeah, women's flyweight division. All right, man, you got a fantastic wrestler versus a jiu-jitera, if you want to call her that, who likes to box, man. Who do you like here?
I like Moroz, man. Moroz, she's been on a hot streak. I believe she won her last Iron Lady, right? Yeah, yep, Marina Moroz against Maria Agapova. That was a fun fight, and Moroz is a fun fighter, man. Remember the name. I know it was a thing with the Ukrainian things going on, but this girl's no hype, man. This girl can scrap, and against a very dangerous Maia right here.
She's very, very dangerous, but this is a tough test. So let's not discount Jennifer Maia neither. Let's not forget. She just fought Valentina Shevchenko for the title not too long ago. And won a round. Look at that, brother. Look at that. All right, brother. Last two ones. Vince Morales versus Miles Johns. Don't even need to talk about it. This is going to be a fun fight. I thought about making this my sleeper. I really did, but I didn't make it my sleeper. All you need to know is you need to watch it. And then lastly, man, we already kind of talked about it, but Ricky Tercios versus Kevin Natividad. You kind of gave me a lean last time that we chatted about it, but now I want your lean officially. Who are you leaning towards?
Official lean, man. Oh, man. I think this is another hard one, man. I'm going Tercios in this one. I'm going with the wild man, but he's got to finish it soon. If he doesn't, I think Natividad pulls this one out. Like I said, I'm going Tercios. You lean one way?
It was funny because when we first chatted, my lean was Tercios, but now that I've given it some thought, I got to go Natividad, bro. That's a dangerous man, and Tercios is a volume guy. He is a taking a lot of damage fighter. Natividad's not going to give you the option to take a lot of damage. He's going to put you out. I love Ricky Tercios as a spirit, as a fighter, as an enigma of an entity, but this is going to be a fun one, man. We'll just say that. With that being said, folks, we're not going to mince any more words. If you're still tuned in, we love you. We appreciate you. If you haven't subscribed yet, you should subscribe right now. Like literally at this point, share the show with your friends. Let them know they need to subscribe. Get us to 450 in these next couple of days so that by the end of the month, we can make that 50 spot and we can get up to 500 subscribers. You already dig. AJ, any last words for the people before we get out of here?
No, brother. Just share it with your friends. Derrick said it best. Well, I'm not too proud to beg. Please go share it with your friends. We're trying to hit that 500. Do with the make sure you tune in. It's going to be a very fun fight card. Let's get up out of here, Derrick.
That's it. All right, folks. Until next time. Peace.